welcome to this mock interview.
Thank you, sir.
Tell us why leaving a profession where you are very good and you are gold medalist in your medical sciences. Why to leave such a profession?
So my pursuit towards the MBBS has been more because of the reasons of my family being afflicted with cancer, especially in class 12, when my mom was afflicted with cancer and my dad passed away as well due to the same disease. And during my pursuit of MBBS, in my internship, we happened to face cases where even liver or renal transplants were done free of cost without charging a single penny. And this has been due to the success of schemes such as the PMJAY CMCHIS scheme. And so, as a doctor, I'll be able to treat 80 cases a day and probably 2,500 cases over a month. But as a bureaucrat, I'll be able to save the lives of more than 1 million population over the same period. Also, sir, the Hota committee has already recommended that we take up technocrats within the civil services, be it MBBS or so that they can cater better to the profession with regards to the civil services as well. So, for these reasons, I felt that my medical knowledge can be helpful with regards to the civil services, sir.
Okay. What is the role of civil services in the development of the country?
Sir, as Sardar Vallabhai Patel calls the civil services the steel framework of the country, the bureaucracy has been the steel framework with regards to policy making initiatives, the legislature, executive, and judiciary, alongside the media, the four pillars of our democracy, and the civil service as such, as part of the bureaucracy and the executive, have aided in taking up the initiatives of the government to the masses by and large. So I believe they are the backbone of our country, sir.
What will be your role in that?
Sir, both as a medical science professional as well, and in whatever capacity and capability that I am put into as a civil servant, I will be able to serve the country to the fullest of my abilities. Once, with the medical expertise and the cognitive intelligence that we have been taught with regards to MBBS, my service in the healthcare sector will definitely be enhanced in analyzing the problems and suggesting suitable solutions if I could, and as well with regards to the education sector as well, both in terms of school, collegiate education, or medical education. I believe my expertise will be helpful in formulating better policies, sir.
So you feel that civil service is still a steel frame, but nobody
Sir, the
believes
civil
it.
service. Sorry, sir.
But nobody believes these days that civil services are a steel frame.
Sir, I firmly believe that the civil services until date happens to be the steel framework of the bureaucracy, and that is still confidence both on the public and on the part of our governments as well, be it the legislature, and all of these have been part of public service delivery with respect to helping each other in both being a check and balance, and as well in taking the policies of the government to the masses. I
That's
still feel.
okay. What is the meaning of a steel frame?
Sir, the base on which the country is built, sir, they act as a medium and a mode for the government's policies to be taken forward to the public. So they are the base, sir.
No. Basically, the steel frame. What is the meaning of a steel frame?
Sir, this was my interpretation of the steel framework, but
No.
I'm not aware, sir.
I think read on that. The steel frame
Yes, sir.
meaning is something very different from what you are understanding. Okay, we leave it there. Suppose you are posted at a place which is prone to Naxalites, Maoist, and you are a police officer. They are not allowing actually the government schemes to percolate to the poor people, not allowing the infrastructure, road, sanitation, water. What will be your role and how actually you will carry out the developmental plan in your district?
So my role will be to establish the rule of law and the law and order in the particular district as well. So
Yeah,
I would
that is okay, but
mediate this through
how?
mechanisms,
Yeah. Yeah, tell
so
what
of
mechanism.
mechanisms of dialogue, negotiation, and I would bring them to the negotiating table and try mechanisms of bringing out the positives development that the government can bring in their particular area, the positive change that it has shown in other such Naxalite prone areas. I believe
Hmm.
that giving the examples of such best areas, especially the examples of Bastar district, can all help in aiding and making them understand the pros of allowing such initiatives. It is that uh, such dejection which they've faced with regards to the government policy implementation mechanism has brought them to this extreme initiative. So I would try to mediate it with the district administration itself and try to get the schemes delivered to them in the best efficient manner possible, sir.
Good. My last question. What are the challenges before India from within and outside the country?
So, as we step towards 2024 with a positive note of having sent Exposat to the exosphere, we also have certain challenges which we have been facing perennially across the years. One includes the challenge of poverty as such, with still 15% of the population of India being under poverty.
Okay, you
We
you
also
keep
have
telling
a
like
challenge.
bullet points. Yeah, one is poverty. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
then next.
The second would be the challenges of unemployment. The third would be
Okay.
the accessibility. The third would be the accessibility to healthcare, which is still below estimated limits. Sir. We have only 2% of GDP which is being spent on health. The fourth would be with regards to education. We still have a gross enrollment ratio in the higher education sector at 50%, and we need to
No, keep
definitely improve.
counting. Yeah, four. Go on.
Yes, sir.
Next.
The fourth would be education. Sir, the fifth would be measures of skill development as well.
Okay.
And then the sixth would be to inch towards the aim of becoming a $5 trillion economy. We have a debt of nearly 100% of the GDP, which we will have to bring it down to. So these are five challenges, sir.
Domestically.
Yes, sir. And apart from the
Nothing
domestic
like
challenges,
nothing from extremists, terrorists, Naxalites, red corridors.
sir, the challenge with respect to Naxalites and Red Corridor has drastically reduced as compared to previous years. And the challenge is relatively minuscule, sir. With regards to terrorists, the challenge is more on the side of the borders and the security challenges that we face from outside the country. So, on a global setup, sir, there is a challenge from neighboring countries such as China, which is being aggressive with its foreign policy. And that is,
Okay, Prashant. Good.
yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Prashant, recently, External Affairs Minister gave an interview to ANI where he had said a few things about China, particularly what happened in 1962. Do you remember that interview?
Sorry, sir. I've not looked up the interview. I'll read about it, sir.
Okay. Do you think the policy towards China that we have at present, how does it compare with what we had in 1950s when China had just become independent, so to say? Can you compare the two policies?
Yes, sir. So, with regards to China being in the 1950s, it was relatively underdeveloped nation, and we as India had recognized diplomatic relations with China in the first place, and there was always a friendly nature between India and China until the Indo-Sino War of 1962, where there was a clear difference that came out. And
Hmm.
since the 1962 war has come up, there have been repeated issues with regards to the line of actual control as well, and whether the boundaries have been demarcated or not on three frontiers, be it the northern
Hmm.
or the western or the eastern part. So there has been a current change in the foreign policy with regards to China, with China being a relatively hostile country to India as well, sir, both in terms of security reasons or in terms of trade.
But in terms of the security situation, we agreed to vacate the Kailash Heights. So was that a good decision then?
So when it comes to the negotiating table, there are two sides to a coin, and there are certain claims both from India and China as well. And with regards to bringing peace and truce between India and China, a welcome move would be definitely something of this sort, where India has something to let go and get something as well, sir. As in, China again needs to have the similar mentality with regards to areas that it claims accordingly. So it needs to be on both sides, sir.
China has certain claims. I'm sorry, I was not very clear about what you wanted to say by that.
China has certain claims with regards to the line of actual control. Like they have a particular map which they follow, while India follows a different map. And when
Prashant,
it comes to
so
negotiating
let us
table,
put it
both
this. So
sides
let
have
me,
to.
I'm interrupting you, Prashant, listen to me. See, the current
Yeah.
situation,
Yes, sir.
before the current situation came to be, till 2020, the thing was that there was an area of dispute between India and China. That area became no man's land. The armies would patrol in that area, but would not occupy the land. That has changed by China occupying the land now. So while we have vacated some area that we occupied, China has China has refused to vacate the land. So in that situation, how do we actually work with China? How do we negotiate further with China?
Sir, the similar mentality that India has been generous enough with regards to China, China needs to espouse the similar mentality, and it needs to come to the negotiating table in order to budge certain things. If China is adamant and aggressive about how it has been with regards to the patrolling scenario, or about taking up more land from India, then probably India will not be able to do anything about it. It needs to be mutual, sir. It cannot be one sided with India being generous on the same.
Okay, let us leave it there for the time being. BRI. Have you heard of BRI?
The Belt and Road Initiative, sir.
Hmm. What is BRI all about?
So, Belt and Road Initiative of China is a diplomatic strategy wherein China intends acquiring certain ports and land across different countries of the globe, and they find it more as a means of connecting with different countries, establishing trade routes, and acquiring hard infrastructure, sir. Like they've acquired a part of the Hambantota port as part of the Belt and Road Initiative of leasing certain money for the development, and they've gotten it for 99 years. So China intends to do similar with different countries, sir.
Do you think if India had joined China in the BRI, India could have benefited by sharing the strategic objectives?
Sir, totally. India would never have benefited from the Belt and Road Initiative because it is an ulterior motive of China to encircle India and probably even conquer different countries on its fold. So definitely, India would never have benefited from the Chinese initiative, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The chairman was asking you about the role of bureaucracy, right? Now there is
Yes, sir.
a political executive, cabinet, ministers, etc. And there is the bureaucracy. What is the role of bureaucracy vis-a-vis the political executive?
Sir, the bureaucracy is also involved in implementation and formulation of policies on a detailed schedule. They all Once the legislature has tabled a particular bill, the uh, the details of the particular bill, as in the rules and the regulations, in greater depth are framed by the bureaucracy, while those at the cabinet executives, as such, they deal with a passage of the bill and the official office work related to the particular bills and the cabinet of the particular minister.
Do you, I my question was, what should be the role of political executive vis-a-vis the bureaucracy? Do you think the bureaucrat can say no to a political directive or a political decision or to them when they feel that it is not correct? How can the bureaucrat say no, if they can say no at all?
Sir, the bureaucrats are definitely will say no to the political executive, and it is the duty of the bureaucrat to advise appropriately with regards to the policy formulation and policy making or the particular law to the political executive. And in spite of the advice, if the political executive happens to do not, if he still happens to stick to his particular standpoint view, then probably the bureaucrat may differ and put his point in regard in this, but he will still have to follow the political directive depending on what it is and sign the papers, sir.
All right. One last question. South Africa has gone to ICJ about on Israel. Do you know why?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Prashant,
Yes, ma'am.
brilliant academic career. And you have, besides academics, you've done so much in the same field. You're not thinking of going in for a specialization in medicine?
Ma'am, with the current field work that I've done, I felt that my service as a bureaucrat in the civil services will be pivotal, especially with regards to my medical expertise and knowledge that I've gained over MBBS, which I can use in the primary healthcare setup to enhance those infrastructure or the medical education as well. And these are certain areas that I felt I would be able to do better rather than going for a specialization. And the same handicap that I just mentioned as a doctor would probably be that even if I do a specialization as well, ma'am. So to remove
What
those
makes you
handicaps, I
so
feel,
sure? Yeah, go on, please.
ma'am, to remove that handicap is what I felt would aid me through the civil services and the bureaucracy.
But what makes you so sure you'll get medicine and education?
Ma'am, as
Because
in,
if you think your specialization is just limited to 2 subjects, there are far more subjects in that,
ma'am,
portfolios, departments, which you will be handling.
yes, ma'am. The civil services definitely does provide a diversity of opportunities and fields to cater to. And the cognitive intelligence and the traits that MBBS has developed in me, which include the trait of, say, empathy, self confidence, the communication skills that helps us, like just as how we communicate with the patients, understand the problems and empathize with them, and the confidence that we develop in handling stressful situations. I feel these traits are invaluable, and those will definitely help me steer myself through the civil services, ma'am.
Are you aware of the corruption in civil services? Or do you think there is no corruption?
Ma'am, there is definitely an element of corruption within the civil services as well. There is no
So
second
you being a
thought about it.
thinking person, you being a thinking person, you are going there with a mission, it appears, that I want to serve. What happens if you're not part of the system? You'll be a misfit.
Ma'am, with respect to the system of maybe even corruption as such, it is not the case that the whole system is corrupt or that every single person is. And we've had a lot of steadfast, honest individuals who've maintained their foot and stood for the values of integrity within the civil services as well. And they've always stood out more as remarkable examples. And those are the ones that we quote
You
even
heard
until
of
today.
Khemka?
Yes, ma'am. Ashok Khemka,
What
sir,
happened
was.
to him?
Yes, ma'am. He was transferred for a multitude of times, of more than even 50 times, especially for being honest and integrity. But as Ashok Khemka sir quotes, the process has rather made him even more maybe vigilant about what he's doing. He's never stopped or changed his path just because he was transferred.
All
And
right,
those
but
who have
how does
always
it benefit how does it benefit your motive of being of adding value to the society? Because every few months or few weeks you are moving, it doesn't serve.
Ma'am, the civil service conduct rules have now stipulated a period of at least 2 years for a particular department for a civil servant. So that will one way help us gain a ground for at least 2 years in a particular department. And the second
Please
thing, ma'am,
understand the
even if
reality.
there is,
You must, before you
ma'am,
take the
even if,
final leap, before you take the final leap, do some research work at the ground level. My last question on medicine. What happens to your oath?
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the Hippocratic oath wherein we take is to serve the people and rather save lives. That save lives rather, ma'am, across the medical profession and studies. And in my Hippocratic oath as well, we've taken an oath to serve when we practice. So as long as we practice, do no harm is the principle that we follow, ma'am. And in whatever I do, I believe I would still do no harm to any person, be it a patient or a citizen.
Okay. Now you are also, it appears, a master of many languages. Yes. Which languages?
Ma'am, I speak 4 languages fluently and 2 other languages partly, which include one Hindi, ma'am, and then the second being Tamil. Then we English and Malayalam and Telugu partly, ma'am. The sixth
Okay.
one being Marathi, I've been learning.
Marathi, where you're currently there. Okay. How does that benefit in your role as a civil servant? Value added?
Ma'am, as a civil servant, there is a chance for us to be posted in different regions, states, and zones as well. And we meet a diverse population, India being a country with unity in diversity. So, irrespective of which population we get to deal, it is always easier to communicate and understand someone's problems in their own language. And I think that this ability of mine will help me understand and easily communicate with a diverse population and probably give them solutions, ma'am.
At what level do you play chess?
Ma'am, I have an online FIDE rating of 1600, ma'am. So that is intermediate range.
Intermediate range. Who's the current champion, world champion?
Ma'am, Magnus Carlsen holds the position of #1 still in chess.
He's denied to defend his title. Are you aware of that?
Ma'am, it was a conscious decision for him to not play this time for
So
the.
he still holds the championship, the status.
Ma'am, he chose not to play rather, ma'am. Like it was not. It was a personal decision of his.
Okay.
So it depends on the candidates tournament. When we'll actually know.
Okay. Since you know the medical bit of it, I want to understand, why is the Indian population such an unhappy lot? We are very low on the happiness index. Why? Any reason? And how can we make them happy? Look up.
Ma'am, with respect to the
Is
happiness
that a
index,
general mindset, or what is it?
ma'am, there is a reason to believe that there is a part mindset associated with the Indian population as well. And being content is again a very subjective feeling because the standard of living and the quality of life are objective versus subjective indicators. While the quality of life can be very different for an individual. For me, probably an education at a particular school could be considered really good, while for someone else, it would not be. And someone might be happy and someone might not. So these are very subjective indicators. And India being a huge populous country, it is very difficult to satisfy such a huge population across the country, ma'am. So
But
because of
those
the diversity,
But those parameters are there for all the individuals in all the countries. So ours is not a unique case.
ma'am, relatively, if we see Bhutan or the Scandinavian countries, the population is relatively lesser. And the social expenditure with regards to education and health has been on extremely higher with regards to the taxation that they pay, especially in Scandinavian countries. So this could probably be one more
In
reason, ma'am.
Scandinavia, which is the highest in happiness index?
Ma'am, I'm not exactly sure which country, ma'am, but if I may take a guess, it's Sweden, ma'am.
No. Do check on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I just want to know, 26 January is coming. So we are going to unfurl the flag or hoist the flag.
Ma'am, unfurl the national flag.
Why? There must be some logic to it.
Ma'am, the Republic Day is celebrated with regards to the Purna Swaraj event in 26 November of 1930. So in commemoration of that, we do. And the flag was unfurled, if I may remember, in the 26th of November 1930.
Yeah, what is the difference between hoisting and
So I
unfurling?
think that must be the reason. Ma'am.
No, just read on that. You hoist the first
Sure,
time
ma'am. I'll look
when,
up.
yeah, and then every year you unfurl the flag. That is on 15th of August, we hoist, and 26th, we unfurl. All right. Now, is 2024 a leap year?
Yes, ma'am.
There you're doing calculations.
Ma'am, 2024 has to be a leap year. 24 can be divided by 4, so it is a
All
leap year,
right.
ma'am.
All right. It is every century which ends with 00 a leap year?
Ma'am, provided it can be divided by 4, it has to be a leap
No,
year.
no, we all know the
So
formula.
100.
I just asked you specific, 1900 and 2000. Both are leap years because both are ending with 0?
I think so, ma'am.
All right.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
my last question on Parliament.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Parliament in the current format in which it is being run following the democratic principles as enshrined in our constitution?
Ma'am, in my opinion, the Parliament espouses the democratic principles as enshrined by the Constitution until
Is
date.
it or not? I'm not
It is,
asking what
ma'am.
it is espousing. Is it
It
following?
is, ma'am.
Do we see a democratic pattern in the functioning of Parliament?
Yes, ma'am, we do see until date.
One example.
Ma'am, the way the Parliament functions with regards to passage of bills, the debates that it follows, and the referrals to the joint parliamentary
No, please have a
committees.
hard look. There are hardly any debates. The bills are passed on the last day or the fag end of the day. And what's been happening, expelling people just because there was some kind of a light-hearted humor. Yeah, thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prashant,
Yes, sir.
வணக்கம்.
Vanakkam, sir.
சுகமானோ?
Sugame, sir. Sugandha nalle. Rather.
எந்த?
Sugandha nalle.
சுகந்த நல்லே.
Sugandhanne.
You said you're a polyglot. That's why I'm checking in different
Yes, sir.
languages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
நல்ல சுக or சுகமானோ?
Sure, sir.
భోజనం అయిందా?
Aindi, sir.
Very good. Khai khales?
Sir, I didn't get the language, sir.
That's Marathi.
Sir, I'm
Hmm.
learning like tandoor and certain words.
Okay,
So
no
I've
problem.
started
Anyways,
learning.
that aside now. Let's
Yes,
move
sir.
forward. Your choice of service is very interesting. 1 and 2, I understand. And then you go to Group B services, DANIPS 6 and 7. Why is that so?
Sir, from what I understood about the DANIX and DANIPS, those are again similar civil services as compared to the IAS and IPS with regards to not being an all India service, but localized to the Delhi, Andaman and Nicobar, and the other islands as well. So I believe that they are promoted to the cadre of the IAS or IPS as DANIX or DANIPS in a span of 8 to 10 years. So since I wanted to work in an administrative role, I put that as my 6th and 7th option, sir.
Okay, so basically these are services that you like.
Yes, sir.
In administration.
On my personal preference.
So based on that logic, then Pondix and Pondip should have been 8 and 9. Why is it 17 and 18?
Sir, again, with respect to being promoted to the civil services, sir, like from what I was told, generally the Pondicherry services take a span of nearly 25 to 30 years nearly. Like I spoke to one of the civil servants, and he said that it was almost 60 by the time he promoted to that particular cadre. So since relatively the promotions are faster in Danix and Danips. It was a personal choice to take it up, sir,
Okay.
as a
All right.
earlier
No,
preference.
that's fine. You're entitled to your choice. At the end of the day, it is your preference and you have to pick it as per your choice. Good. Very good. Okay, let's move forward. Chess. What is fool's mate?
So sorry, sir. I'm not aware of it.
Do you know of the rivalry between Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov? Tell us something.
Sir, between Garry Kasparov, yes, sir. But I'm not aware of the other person.
Okay,
The
no
rivalry
problem.
between the other person.
X. We'll put an X there also. We'll move forward. This new COVID variant. We'll get back to your domain. How worried
Yes,
should
sir.
be of it?
So the JN1 variant has definitely been causing an increase in the number of cases that we've reported. But the fatality with respect to JN1 has still been on a minimal scale, and it has not been as much as what we've had in the first or second phases. So with appropriate measures of masking up, be it in terms of those vulnerable to the COVID virus, the pregnant, the elderly, or the neonates, and following the vaccines, I'm sure that we'll be able to overcome the JN1 variant as well, sir.
Okay. So is COVID-19 here to stay and, should we change the way we live? Has it altered the way we live and should we continue to change that?
Sir, the COVID-19 variant has almost turned a part and parcel of life with more like a common cold or an influenza virus that we face in our everyday life. And sir, the way it has changed our style of living, it has almost turned into a milder form of influenza. And just as how we protect ourselves with vaccines for influenza and taking personal protective measures, I think similar measures for COVID will help us in getting out, sir.
So it's safe to say that we are safe from the COVID-19 virus now. In
Yes,
the
sir.
sense, we'll look at it as a common cold.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I'm very happy that the doctor has given me the go ahead to treat it as a common cold. All right. What are the types of vaccines that were developed and that came up as a result of COVID-19? Can you name them?
Yes, sir. Within India and outside India, we had different vaccines. Within India, we had the Covishield, which is a live attenuated vaccine.
Types of vaccine, not the name. I'm not asking for the brand.
Yes, sir. The other was an inactivated vaccine.
Okay.
And the third one, sir, was an mRNA-based vaccine, which was developed outside the country. And we also had another inactivated nasal vaccine, sir, for COVID.
Okay.
The last one
My
that
final
was found
question
by
to you,
December.
I want to know out of, general, because you're a doctor, you spend so much of time in this field. I just want to understand. So give me an honest answer. All right. These vaccines that people took for COVID-19, many theories, many reports came out in the newspaper stating that they have caused the deaths of many people because, not really as well tested as the other vaccines. Could that be true?
Sir, any vaccine can cause an adverse event following immunization. But then, though there were quite a few multiple reports saying that the particular vaccine had caused death or maybe due to heart attack or similar reasons, there was no scientific evidence to back the same. And most of the research data with regards to the adverse events have not found any particular reason to a cause of death being attributed to the vaccine. So probably there is nothing alarming that we need to look up about the vaccine causing any deaths, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir.